Ambassador Ramón Custodio Espinoza, uh, thank you for your contribution to the conference. We really appreciate your contribution, and we are very happy for joining us today. We have a couple of questions for you. We will start with Mr. Pedro.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you very much once more for your presentation and for your speech about Honduras. I found it very interesting the way you present Honduras. And my question is regarding competitiveness in the sectors of tourism and the sector of coffee, specifically speaking, because there were the two main products that were presented today for us, and how Honduras works to become competitive, taking into consideration that your neighbor countries in Central America are also high potential countries to export and to attract people through coffee and also with tourism. So, how do you present yourselves to this market share?
Thank you very much. Well, let me start by saying that Honduras is right now a very stable economy and a very stable country. With regards to one of the questions that you asked of coffee, Honduras is in the first 10 of coffee producing countries. The rest of the Central American countries are not. So therefore, for us, that's not a problem, but rather, right now, we are looking into competition with countries such as Colombia. As a matter of fact, we produce more coffee than Colombia. And to me, that was an astonishing news. I didn't know that before, and I just found out, and you're just asking me the question as soon as I found out. To me, with regards to tourism, tourism is directly linked to many different aspects. One of them is political stability. We have that. We have a strong economy. We are an economy on the road to development. And basically, we are trying to increment our position in the tourism sector by having Lufthansa flying to Panama, and we're trying to negotiate with Lufthansa so that we can create a code sharing. Code sharing means that the plane of Lufthansa goes from Frankfurt all the way to Panama, and they are going to use the local airline in order to go to Honduras for the time being. So that means they can sell a plane ticket all the way from Germany to Honduras through Copa Airlines, and they get to Honduras, and that makes our country more attractive. Why are they doing that right now? Because we need an accord between aviation accord between the country of Honduras and the country of Germany, let's say, for example. So while that is going on, we have negotiated the code sharing so that we can increment the business people coming to Honduras, so that we can increment our businesses and our investment. We are going to increment the tourism sector by having more people come over. And it goes both ways, because Hondurans will have an opportunity in order to have a different route to go through in order to get to Europe.
Okay, my question is how far the government support the tourism sector in Honduras? How far government supports the tourism government?
Oh, the government.
Governments support the
tourism
tourism sector in Honduras?
With regard, the government is completely supporting the tourism sector, the coffee sector, every sector in the country that we have. We are not avoiding any responsibilities, but rather we are supporting. The government fully supports in every way, form, or shape the tourism sector and every sector that we have in Honduras.
Well, theoretically speaking, we studied sometimes initiatives of joint ventures of nation branding in regions that have similarities. So, do you think that this can be a good point to Honduras in terms of having a mutual campaign in partnership with Costa Rica, for instance, or El Salvador? Or do you think that this can be prejudicial to the country because of the particularities that this country can explore towards the other countries?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, my question is regard regional nation branding. Do you think that it can be good to Honduras have a partnership in terms of launch a campaign, a mutual campaign with its neighbors such as Costa Rica and El Salvador, or do you think this can be prejudicial to the country because this will kill the particularities of Honduras that Honduras can present to the rest of the world?
Well, to begin with, it doesn't represent any competition, because when we present ourselves in the world, we present ourselves in the world as a region. One country could be 9 million people, like Honduras is, but when it comes to Honduras within the Central American system, we are a region of over 55 million people. So when you take a look at Europe, Europe is an example of the fact that there is no competition, because each country has its own identity and each country has its own selling point. And so as Europeans, or European countries, have its own identity by country, we have our own identity by country. So there's no reason why we should be afraid of a little competition. Plus, a little competition is good.
Okay, my last question is, how can tourism contribute to the economic and social development of your country?
The more tourism we get, the more hotels we're going to build, and the more jobs are going to be created. So therefore, the tourism sector is a very important sector in the development of a country, and especially my country.
Dear Ambassador, we appreciate your time with us. We wish you a safe flight and thank you very much for your special contributions and for all informations. It's really good to have the chance to know more about countries that are not so well explored yet, and it's a great opportunity for us to share as well more information about Honduras after this time and this speech. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.